Go wrong on holiday abroad, even if you're staying with family. So check it out before you check in. Find out more at gov.uk/knowbeforeyougo.
Checking it out before you check in on the John Guinn Travel Show on ukhealthradio.com. So I'm running through some travel jargon which can help you understand what you're paying for. Groups. This is a big one. When you're doing it yourself, you might not understand what's going on. If there's 10 or more travelling on the same booking, it is a group, and a special group passengers fare may be applicable. Now, you may feel that a bulk booking of 10 or more people would get you a cheaper fare. Not the case. I've already said a few moments ago that there's different fares for the same, in economy for the same seat, basically. So what happens is they look to see if there's 10 available or however many people in the group there are of that particular price. If there's not enough there, then they move all of the group onto the next price range. So if you're doing a group booking for your friends, you may get some people saying, well, I can get it for £100 cheaper if I do it myself. That's because they're looking for one ticket and there might be one ticket left at that price. There isn't 10 or more tickets at that price. So if you're doing a group booking, just tell everybody to do their own booking. It's so much easier. It's less stressful anyway. I used to dislike doing groups intensely when I did it. It's bad enough doing families, let alone doing a group. Health. You should always contact your GP before travelling for up-to-date travel information. Private clinics may offer you better advice, to be honest. However, it's a private clinic, so you will pay for everything if you need it. Where if you go to your GP, some of the stuff is provided under NHS and some of it you have to pay for. IATA, A-I-T-A. Sorry, start again. IATA. I'll get it right, I think. International Air Transport Association. This includes most of the world's airlines and enables passengers to travel on different aircraft around the world after paying the fare at the start of their journey in one currency. What do I mean? What am I going on about? Well, because there's arrangement, you could book your tickets, you could be going around the world, and you pay your price, if you live in the UK, in pounds. Without IATA, you may have to pay different types of parts of your ticket in different currencies so that the airlines are happy with the way it's paid. But one of the things IATA does means you can pay British Airways £1,000 for your around the world ticket, and then British Airways sort out all the rest by talking the other airlines that are used within the tickets. It also promotes safety and cost-cutting measures. An IATA licence is required to sell scheduled flights. So your supplier, the website, travel agent may hold a licence or they may not. If they don't hold a licence, then they're using somebody else who does, which puts another layer of charges in between you and the ticket you want. It's something you should be aware of. You're going to get a cheaper ticket if your travel agent has an IATA licence. If they don't, they're using somebody who does, and of course they're going to take their cut, and then the travel agent puts their cut on top of it as well. Infant, as already mentioned, a child under the age of 2 at the date of return, not the day you leave, the date of return. An infant does not have his own seat or meal on the flight. You can have a reduced baggage allowance as part of it, and you may not. It depends on the airline, but you can also usually get your pushchair on. A long haul is a flight for more than 5 hours. Maximum and minimum, or max/min stay. All return flight prices are governed by the length of stay and other conditions. For example, minimum could mean that the passenger has to stay on a Saturday night or for 7 days. Maximum could be up for 1 year. The more restrictions that are placed on the ticket or the class of ticket for your economy or business or whatever, the cheaper it is going to be. Non-stop, the aircraft does not land on its way to the final destination, so non-stop, direct. You don't have to get the plane on either of them, but with a direct, as I mentioned before, you do stop. If you see OK on a ticket, that means that it's booked or confirmed. Open jaw, a bit like one I mentioned earlier about flying into JFK, then coming back through LA. Another term for that is open jaw, where the passenger arrives in one city and leaves from another. OW means a one-way flight. Pre-bookable. I hate the word pre-bookable. It's booked or it isn't. But anyway, I'm going to start moaning again, which I'm not going to do. On most scheduled airlines, it's possible to pre-book seats and also pre-book special meal requests. You don't pre-book, they're booked. But anyway, I just have to put up with it. RQ, a flight ticket that is requested but not confirmed. RT is a return flight. RTG is routing or routing. This describes the journey from start to finish. Now, seat pitch, which is what people think means legroom, but it doesn't. It's the distance between the back of your seat to the back of the seat in front of you. That's all it is. And when you see the seat pitch, you might think it's legroom, you've got an awful lot, but then they're adding all that cushion space for your bum onto it. So that's what it is. It's not legroom, it's the distance between one point on the seat in front of you to the same point on your chair. Segment. For each individual part of the itinerary is called a segment. For example, a return flight could have two segments, an outbound flight and a return flight. A long haul flight could have more segments because you're going in different areas. A short haul, a flight of less than 5 hours. Special fares, various lower priced fares with more restrictions and more penalties if you want to change anything. Stopover, if your flight is not non-stop, such as direct, then it may be possible to stay one night or more at the destination en route to your final destination. So if you're going to Australia and you have to touch down in Hong Kong, why not spend a few days in Hong Kong before continuing the rest of your journey? That's what a stopover is. Taxes, which I already mentioned earlier. This is all the extras that are added to the price of your ticket. TOD, ticket on departure. Very rare now, I believe, but when I started in the travel world 2004, if there's a last minute holiday and there wasn't time to get the ticket posted to the passenger, then they could collect it at the ticketing desk at the airport. Sometimes there was a fee for that. Unaccompanied minor, any child aged up to 12 who are travelling without an adult. An adult fare may apply, and the airline may also charge a fee to look after the passengers. And not all airlines accept unaccompanied minors. Worth having for peace of mind. I did have one customer who didn't want to pay extra for it. But if you've got some child who's travelling from maybe the mum to the dad because they're divorced, if you pay for British Airways or whatever, somebody will be with your child for the whole journey and will not hand the child over to anybody who has not been approved and can provide identification to say who they are. If you don't pay that, then anybody can pick them up. I think it's well worth paying it. But I'm not a kid, I'm not a parent, so what do I know? And finally, visa. Some countries require certain passport holders to hold a visa to allow entry into their country. This should be checked by contacting the local embassy or visiting their website. Visas can be free of charge and they can be allocated on arrival, but they mostly involve a fee and a lot you need to get before you travel. If a visa is required but not issued, then the traveller, if they get onto the plane without a visa, will be sent back to the last place they flew from. Some tour operators may offer a visa application service for a fee. In some cases, this fee is worth the money, as the visa applications can be a complicated procedure. I had a passenger doing a round the world trip, and they wanted to do all the visas themselves, and they were going to India. And at the time, getting a visa to visit India was extremely stressful and extreme hard work. They went to the local place for them, which was in Birmingham, and they got there early, thinking that'd be a good idea. And that's when they found out that per day, the console only handles 200 requests. So they went down the line, counting up to 200, and if 201 go home, you're not going to get a visa. But if you pay somebody, they sort all that out. They have somebody in the queue, they get it done, a lot less stress. But if you get refused a visa and you've already booked your tickets, you're not going to get your ticket money back. So if it's me, I'll get the visa first to make sure that you're eligible to actually get into the country. If there's any bit of travel jargon I've missed off and you don't know what it means, do contact me at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show and I'll tell you what it's all about.
You're listening to The Travel Show with John Guinn on UKHealthRadio.com.
I'm going to be sharing some general travel tips with you now. Travel tips even, not travel tips, trips, travel, oh dear. I can't even blame the cold, it's just me being stupid. But anyway, some general travel tips are now going to be shared with you, so get your pen and paper out. Family holidays. So school holidays can really ramp up the cost of the holiday. So what can you do to keep costs down? Well, try the following tips, or just leave the kids at home and go away on your own in term time. So book early. Tour operators, basically, they need your money. So if you book and pay well in advance, there are special deals on offer, such as free kids places. Booking early also means that you'll get your resort of choice. If you are flexible and don't care about having a family room, then last minute bookings can save you money, but you could end up in an unhappy experience with your kids topping and tailing because they don't have their own bed. Be clever with your dates. So especially with the recent court case, you're tied to school holidays, but don't just go in the first few weeks. I once went to Luton Airport on the first Saturday of the school summer holidays just to experience it. It was hell. There's no other way of putting it. You could just sit there, me and my wife were just sitting there watching these families going, they're going to have a fun time. Not. It was just so busy, so stressful. Just don't go on the first day of the school holiday. So be clever. Check the dates for the whole school holiday period. Don't just do the traditional Saturday to Saturday either. Go and return on a Wednesday. You might find it an awful lot cheaper. So as I said, the first week of the summer is not a good time unless, like me and my wife, you like doing people watching. And be flexible. Self-catering, all-inclusive, Spain, Portugal. If the weather is the most important thing for you, shop around for the cheapest country. You don't have to go anywhere else where everyone else goes if you just want the sun. And a great 3-star hotel could be better than a poor 5-star. Look at facilities on offer at a 4 or 5-star hotel. If you're not going to use them all, then look with a hotel with less to offer, but does have a superior service. Generally, this happens before family holidays, and that's honeymoons. So perhaps you're just thinking about chilling out on the beach and nothing else. Well, nearly nothing else. It is your honeymoon. However, this trip is the start of your new life together, so make it special. And also, planning can help save you money, which is handy when you're also paying for your big wedding. But don't overdo the planning by having an itinerary for every minute of the day. Spontaneity is romantic, as I keep telling my wife when I haven't arranged anything. And for this trip, it is for both of you. I mean, the wedding's normally for the bride, but the trip is for both of you. For the groom, well, nothing about the wedding is for you, I'm sorry. But you should be both involved in the planning. The groom can still keep the destination a secret, but you can ask her what the bride wants to see and do when they're away, what they want to experience. And also, you don't have to be together 24 hours a day on your honeymoon. If you can, do stuff separately just to keep yourself apart and stop the arguments. What's the most important hotel booking when it comes to a wedding and a honeymoon? The most important one is the wedding night. Make sure you've got somewhere to stay after the reception. You'd be surprised. People don't think about that sort of thing. End up staying up all night to get the flight to the honeymoon. So passports, when it comes to the honeymoon, some couples may get carried away and book the trip with a new married name. Don't do that. If the passport doesn't match the flight ticket, you won't fly. And also, is this your first trip booked by the groom? Does he really know what his bride's full name is as recorded on the passport? I know somebody who booked his girlfriend on the trip, put her name as Sue, but her passport name was Susan. And that can be extremely expensive and embarrassing to put right at the airport. So if you're the groom and you're sorting the honeymoon out, get your bride-to-be's passport, make a note of the name, and book the trip in her maiden name. And don't wait too long to book. I did have a client that took 4 months to make up his mind about booking the hotel for his wedding, for his honeymoon. 4 months. He finally said booking, it was too late. The hotel was gone, it was fully booked. It was a great hotel, no wonder it was booked up. So, if you found it, you like it, don't faff about thinking about costs, just book it. By the way, when it comes to booking in advance, you can only book 11 months in advance for flights. So the hotel you want might be really exclusive and difficult to get into. So you may have to book it separately because you can't get a flight there.